Well, minutes now after the hour. Welcome back to the final half hour of Daybreak Live. We welcome Chad Littleton. Chad is the new principal at Nichols-Lawson Middle School. Chad, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. And Chad, even though he's new principal at Nichols-Lawson, he's not new to our community. Chad, tell us a little bit about yourself, sir.
Yes, sir. Well, first of all, my wife, Casey, is a speech-language pathologist for the Sylacauga City School System, and my daughter, Anna Lee, is soon to be 9 and will be entering 3rd grade at Pinecrest. I grew up in Sylacauga and the Sylacauga City School System, and I'm a 2001 graduate of Sylacauga High School.
Your family's from here.
Yes. My mom was 3rd generation to work at Avondale Mills. My dad was in education around 40 years, most as a math teacher in Coosa County, and finished up part-time for several years at Central Alabama Community College. I have been, in most of my career, I'm starting my 18th year in education. Most of my career has been in the Sylacauga City School System, primarily at the middle school level. I did teach 4 years at the high school. I returned back to Nichols-Lawson a few years ago as Title I reading teacher for a couple of years. I've been assistant principal for the past 3 years, and now I'm entering my 1st year as principal.
So what is so special, Chad, about Nichols-Lawson Middle School?
Well, a few things that really stand out. First is just we have a great faculty. From our office staff, librarian, custodians, teachers, coaches, lunchroom staff, all our support staff, they really pitch in and just make sure we provide the best learning experience possible for our students. And to go along with that, a few years ago, our school started taking part in what's called the Foundations program. And it had different branches. It started out with a focus with academics, but it branched out into different things as a program and different grants from the Alabama State Department of Education. And a big focus of it includes our school-wide procedures. And we have very specific school-wide procedures for arrival, dismissal, transitions, lunchroom, those kinds of things. They're important in all schools, but especially at the middle school level. And we have just this week, we had a team of teachers in updating those procedures based on new locations for teachers and staff changes and things. And so we can have very specific procedures where indicating, where teachers and staff supposed to be during transitions, lunchtime, arrival, dismissal, plans and specific places for students to be based on their mode of transportation with dismissal, and just all those kinds of things, and very specific in creating that very structured and supportive learning environment for students. And then the last thing, or one of the other major things that stands out about our school, are all the expanded curriculum choices we have. From our career tech with computer science classes, robotics, manufacturing, visual arts, choral music, band. We're very blessed to be able to offer all the courses and programs we're able to offer for a school our size, and also to be able to do so at the middle school level.
Yeah, and Nichols-Lawson is a beautiful, beautiful school facility, and we're just, a week or so away from school starting back for the fall session. What are some other happenings that's going on now at Nichols-Lawson you can share about today?
Well, a few things. I mean, it's been a very busy summer, and right now, the whole summer you're working on scheduling and getting everything ready for the new year, and making sure you have the personnel in place and all of that. But right now, leading into the year, we had district registration this past week. Parents that were unable to attend that, we'll be able to come to the school on Tuesday, August 2nd to complete their student registration if they've not already done so. Then this upcoming week, our teachers return on Thursday, the 4th, but then we have scheduled pickup for 7th and 8th graders on Friday the 5th. Our 7th graders scheduled pickup is from 12 to 1:30 on Friday, August 5th. For 8th grade, it's from 2 to 3:30. And then we have 6th grade orientation on Monday, August 8th at 6 p.m. It'll be a little more in depth than scheduled pickup. We'll present information. We will allow, of course, they'll get their schedule, but we'll allow the students, they'll go to classrooms. We're actually going to let them go ahead and get their locker that night. That's something they can go ahead and work with, because with sixth grade, that's a big deal, and it's something we'll continue to work with them as school starts and accommodate them with that. And then, of course, the first day of school is August 10th. So
there are always changes, Chad, and this year is no exception. And you've got children that are embracing these changes, as well as teachers and administrators. Some changes that really stand out in your mind this morning.
Well, the biggest thing, I've been there, with Mr. Rivers for a few years, and a lot of things we're working to maintain, but we're always in a cycle of continuous improvement in relation to academics, in relation to procedures. Biggest changes would probably be with personnel. We have a few new teachers, and then, of course, with myself going into the principal position, we have a new assistant principal, Miss Kristen Cox. She's from the Birmingham area. She does have some ties to Sylacauga, as she actually completed her teaching internship as an English teacher the first semester at Nichols-Lawson, the first semester it was open in 2004. And most of her experience has been mostly at the middle school level, primarily in Jefferson County, and she brings a lot of experience with from different instructional initiatives and a lot of behavioral strategies that she's implemented and used herself school-wide and in her classroom, and we're excited about having her on board as well.
Focus, focus, focus. And there's always changes. And, how do we help our students with the challenges of middle school? I was telling you off air about Zach from Pinecrest to Nichols-Lawson in the sixth grade last year. It was traumatic for him for a while.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It definitely can be. It is. My own child right now, she's transitioning from Indian Valley to Pinecrest, and she's anxious about that. And, we understand that it was challenging during the pandemic, and we're still dealing with that some, to do everything that we normally do in helping students transition to our school. And so biggest thing, as we do, is many things that I've already mentioned in terms of being proactive and having that structured environment, but also just being on alert. In the last few years, mental health and things, especially coming through and trying to come out of the pandemic, has been a big focus. But at the middle school level, I feel like with all my years of experience, one of our strengths has always been, our teachers are very observant. We try to identify and recognize individual student needs, and work with our counselors. They work with our mental health coordinator, and we try to meet individual student needs. We have our advisory program, where our advisory classes meet a couple of times a month, dealing with just different topics that are appropriate and timely for our students. And that person is kind of like an advocate for, in that small group of advisory students, an advocate for those students. And another thing we're looking at doing this year, between 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, that students are going through different stages. It can be very different from being a 6th grader to an 8th grader. And we're looking to implement student grade level meetings, where we address topics and issues with each grade level, and try to, again, just provide that the most structured and the most support, and be as proactive as possible in providing the best learning experience and addressing those transitions.
You're talking with Chad Littleton, principal at Nichols-Lawson Middle School. School starting back in just a few days. How, Chad, do you guys at Nichols-Lawson communicate with parents and grandparents, which is so key?
And that is a big transition too, from elementary to middle school. Elementary, a lot of times may have one group or just a couple of groups of students, and then our teachers go to having 5 groups, or in sometimes with electives that are rotating, twice as much as that. And so it's a little different than a folder going home every few days, or once a week, or whatever that may be. We have to rely and do things a little different, but our teachers are very accessible. One of the things that we implemented last year was a program called School Status, and it's an application that our teachers access. It imports contacts from our student information system, and it's the teachers are able easily to text, call parents right from the application on their cell phone without having to use their number, but can easily communicate with parents. Our teachers and the parents that were able to take part in it last year found it very beneficial. We're looking to continue to use that a lot in our communication. Power School is our student information system. Parents can access grades from that. If the information was sent out last year, is the first year that our state went to Power School, but at any time, a parent can reach out to the school office, get that login information for their student, and make sure that they can access grades just immediately as those grades have been entered. And then, of course, we have different parent events. We're trying to ramp those back up after coming through COVID, with events that provide information that are useful to parents and beneficial to the students, from student achievement to testing, and other topics that are useful as well. And we also have a couple of days built into the school calendar this year for parent conferences. And so those are all the different ways that we work to try to communicate with our parents as much as possible.
2 things before we go this morning, and Chad, thanks so much for joining us on a busy Friday morning for you. COVID is not going away. It is in the back mirror, but it's not going away. And how concerned are we about what's out there now?
Well, it's just something we always, as we've gone through the pandemic, being in education and some of the things that we've had to do the last couple of years, I could never envision. Yeah. But that's everybody in whatever walk of life and career they're in these last few years. But it's just something that our school system, continues to monitor and tries to address, and we accommodate our students. One big thing is last year, as Dr. Eller came in, we tried to train our teachers in blended learning strategies so that if a student is out, the teacher has the tools to be able to provide instruction at home, engage the student in quality instruction at home, if they're not able to be in the school building. And it's something we're continuing to work to improve with those kinds of strategies. And it's something that's going to make us better, not just still dealing with COVID, but as we move on and just try to meet the individual needs of students.
Student and teacher administration safety. We leave you with that this morning, and that is paramount as well.
Yes, sir. It is always, with Mr. Rivers, that has always been a focus and one of his great strengths in making sure that, first of all, our foundation's procedures and the supervision and the structure associated with those help with that. And then we're constantly reviewing. We've been in looking at different things that we could implement, and we're making sure we already have good quality camera systems. We're trying to even improve those even more, and just continuing to have our specific procedures in place for specific situations, and make sure our staff and our students are practiced in those processes, so when something happens, they know what to do. Yeah.
See something, say something.
That's right.
Finally, a couple of events are going to be taking place. What's going to be happening in the next coming days we head into school?
Biggest thing, as I said earlier, just the schedule pickups coming up next Friday for 7th and 8th grade. Also, our orientation for 6th grade on Monday, the evening, the 8th. All of that information is on the Sylacauga City Schools Facebook page. It's also on the Nichols-Lawson Middle School Facebook page. And those are also, when we're talking about forms of communication, all important information is posted there, and it's a great, including on the website as well. It's a good resource for parents and community to refer to stay up on all those events.
All right, Chad, thanks a lot for being with us this morning. Godspeed to you and great success. Chad Littleton, the principal at Nichols-Lawson Middle School. We'll be heading into the schoolroom in just a few days. We got more Daybreak just ahead. Don't go away.